The sound was small at first, a quick, sharp thud that didn't belong in Malcolm Adeyemi's marble hallway. He paused mid-stride beside the curved staircase of the Oceanview Estates mansion, the Lagos lagoon glimmering through the floor-to-ceiling windows behind him. The second thud was louder. Then came a strained gasp, thin and frightened. Malcolm rounded the corner and froze. Vanessa, perfect poise Vanessa Brooks in a cream engagement dress, the woman he planned to marry in 6 weeks, had her heel raised over Mama Ijeoma's ribs. The elderly woman, the foster mother who had housed Malcolm when he was 13 and lost between 2 continents, lay curled on the tapestry runner, her wrapper half untied, gelly twisted, one palm lifted for mercy. Vanessa's face, usually soft for the cameras, was tight and cold in a way that seemed borrowed from a stranger. "Get up," Vanessa hissed, the words slicing the air. "I said get up." Malcolm's chest went tight. "Vanessa." Her heel stalled an inch above Mama's side. She turned slowly. In that split second the mask returned, the gentle eyes, the polished smile. But it was too late. He had seen the other face. "Baby," she said breathless, "thank God you're here." She slipped. "I was trying to help her up." "Don't move." Malcolm's voice came out low, a tone that made boardrooms hush. "Step back from her." Vanessa's gaze flicked to the high corners of the ceiling where small black lenses hid in plain sight. Prograde cameras, installed after a string of extortion attempts that came with his billions. He saw the calculation behind her eyes. Had they captured everything? Mama Ijeoma coughed, a dry, scraping cough. Malcolm dropped to his knees, sliding one arm under her shoulders. "Mama, can you hear me?" Her breath warmed his wrist. "Chinik," she wheezed. "My son. I'm fine. It's only—" She flinched as her left hip shifted. It's hot in the bone." "Don't move," he said steady. "Adiz," he called toward the kitchen. "Bring the first aid kit. And tell David to prep the car. We're going to Lagoon Hospital." He looked up at Vanessa. "What happened?" "I told you," Vanessa said, voice sugared now. "She fell. She grabbed my ankle on the way down, like this, and I almost tripped. I was telling her to get up before you saw her like this." Malcolm didn't blink. "You said, get up. Not, are you okay? Not, let me help you." He shifted his body to shield Mama. He could feel Vanessa's attention like a burn on his skin. "Why were you alone with her?" "I came to bring her pepper soup," Vanessa said. "You know I want to be close to your family." "My family," he said, "is never kicked." The last word cracked in the air. Adiz rushed in, slippers slapping. She knelt, eyes wide at the scene, and placed the kit into Malcolm's free hand. "Oga, what happened?" "She tripped," Vanessa answered quickly. "I tried to help." Adiz glanced at Mama's scarf and the scuff along Vanessa's heel, glossy cream streaked by a scrape of blue dye from Mama's wrapper. She said nothing, just pressed her lips together and hovered by Mama's feet, protective as a guard dog. Malcolm took a breath and found the steady center he used when stocks dropped and partners panicked. "We're not arguing," he said. "We're moving." He slid his arm beneath Mama's knees, careful with the hip. David, their driver, appeared in the doorway, having heard the commotion. Together they lifted Mama with the tender strength reserved for glass and elders. Vanessa stepped aside, the delicate gold bracelet on her wrist chiming softly. "I'll come," she said. "We should go together." "You'll ride with me," Malcolm answered without looking at her. "But after the doctor sees Mama, we're having a different kind of conversation." As they carried Mama toward the front, the mansion seemed to watch them, all glass and light and quiet. A place of safety, of purpose. Malcolm's promise to God and to the boy he once was. He had built it for people like Mama who had taken him in when no one else would. For a second, fury almost choked him. He swallowed it back. Not now. Not in front of Mama. They settled Mama into the back seat of the black SUV. Vanessa slid in on the other side. Malcolm took the front passenger seat, twisting so he could keep his eyes on Mama's face. David drove, careful over every speed bump, every sharp bend down the palm-lined road. "Vanessa," Malcolm said, voice muted so only the three of them could hear, "tell me exactly what happened from the beginning." Vanessa stared out the window. Her phone, screen dark, lay face down in her lap. "I brought soup. I found Mama in the hallway. The rug snagged her foot. She fell. I screamed for help. She grabbed my ankle. I told her to get up." "That's what you heard. And the heel raised above her ribs?" Malcolm said softly. "That part." Vanessa glanced at him like she was measuring how much truth he would tolerate. "I was trying to step over her. I didn't want to step on her skirt." Mama murmured, half-conscious. Skirt is old. Not precious. No one spoke after that. The city slid by, the fishermen's canoes, the Okada riders weaving through traffic, the billboard of a smiling gospel singer posed with a microphone. Malcolm watched Vanessa in the reflection of the window. He knew how she looked on magazine covers and gala nights, how her laughter drew people closer. He also knew what he had just seen. At Lagoon Hospital, nurses moved fast. They whisked Mama onto a gurney and disappeared behind swinging doors. A doctor with a calm smile and gray at his temples took notes as Malcolm explained what he could, while Vanessa hovered near a plastic plant, arms crossed. After a battery of scans, they settled Mama into a private room. Her hip wasn't broken, thank God, but badly bruised. Her ribs were sore but intact. They prescribed pain meds and rest. See, Vanessa said, letting out a relieved breath. Thank God. It's not as bad as it looked. Malcolm nodded once. She's alive. That's what matters. He turned to the nurse at the door. Could you give us a moment? When they were alone, he took Vanessa's phone and placed it gently on the rolling table. Unlock it. She blinked. Excuse me? Unlock the phone, Vanessa. Her jaw tightened. Malcolm, that's invasive. You're my fiancée, he said. My mother was on the floor. You were above her with your heel raised. I have questions. Your answers aren't enough. I told you what happened, she said. You don't get to police me. I love you. I brought her soup. What else do you want me to do? Cry on command? Her voice trembled on that last line, like she realized too late how it sounded. From the bed, Mama stirred. Two of you. No shouting. My head is big already. Malcolm's eyes softened when he looked at Mama. Rest, Mama. I'll handle this. He pulled his own phone, tapped the security app, and opened the live camera feed from the entry hallway. He scrolled back 3 hours. The footage appeared, the long runner, the curve of the stair, the afternoon sun laying gold on the polished floor. There, Vanessa entering with a small tray of soup, her heels careful on the runner. She set the tray on the console and paused. She looked both ways. Then she adjusted one camera's angle with a smooth, practiced motion, just enough to tilt the view. Not enough to be obvious. Malcolm felt his stomach go cold. In the hospital room, the soundscape narrowed, the soft, steady beep of a heart monitor, the hush of the AC. Vanessa saw his face change and took a step closer. What is it? She asked too quickly. He didn't answer. He rewound 15 seconds. The feed showed Mama approaching slowly, hand on the rail, shuffling, asking a question. No audio, but Malcolm could recognize her gentle rhythm. Vanessa reached for the tray, then set it down again. She said something. Mama, puzzled, pointed toward the kitchen. Vanessa shook her head. Then Mama moved past her. Vanessa's heels swung, careful, almost casual, and caught the edge of the runner. The rug lifted like a small wave. With her next step, Mama's sandal caught. She stumbled. The fall was clumsy, painful-looking, and unavoidable. Vanessa didn't scream for help. She looked down, said something, then nudged Mama's hip with the tip of her heel. The gesture was not a kick from a movie, not violent, not wild. It was worse. It was the flick of a woman poking trash to the curb. Malcolm stopped the feed. The room was very quiet. Vanessa's hand floated to her mouth, eyes glistening because now there was something to cry about. It isn't what it looks like, she whispered. Malcolm's voice was flat. It looks like you lifted the rug. It looks like you watched her fall. It looks like you prodded her while she tried to breathe. That's what it looks like. He held the phone out. Vanessa didn't take it. Mama shifted and opened her eyes, those soft brown eyes that had taken him in long ago when he was a boy who spoke with too many accents and belonged to too many places. She reached for his hand. Her fingers were warm and dry. Malcolm, she said, the syllables careful, don't let anger make your head hot. I have something to say. Rest, Mama, he said, throat tight. No, she insisted gently. Now. Vanessa straightened, hungry for a lifeline. Yes, Mama. Please tell him. Tell him I was. Mama's stare cut across the room like a line drawn in wet cement. Vanessa, she said, voice low, you and I both know what you did. Vanessa flinched, then folded her arms, chin lifting as if to say, so what? Mama turned back to Malcolm. The lines in her face deepened with the weight of something old. Before you judge, she said, you must know the whole story. The day you came to my compound as a boy, I went to the market and bought food on credit to feed you. Do you remember? I remember, he said, words a whisper. You told them I was yours. I did, she said. And today I will tell you something else that is also mine. The door clicked. A soft knock. The doctor returned with a folder and an unreadable face. "Mr. Adeyemi," he said, eyes flicking between them. "There's something in the test results we need to discuss. Right away." Malcolm looked from the doctor to Mama, whose eyes shone with a strange mix of fear and resolve, then to Vanessa, one tear suspended, not falling. "What is it?" Malcolm asked. The doctor opened the folder and drew a slow breath. "It appears that..." The overhead light sputtered once, twice, and the room went dark as the emergency power hesitated, a heartbeat of blackness swallowing their faces. In that breathless second, Mama's fingers squeezed Malcolm's with surprising strength. When the lights flickered back, she exhaled and spoke in a voice that turned Malcolm's blood to ice. "Malcolm," Mama said, "she did this because I asked her to." For a long beat, no one breathed. The emergency lights hummed back to life, painting the hospital room in a clean, clinical glow. Malcolm's hand was still in Mama Ijeoma's, his knuckles pale against her warm, liver-spotted fingers. Vanessa stood near the foot of the bed, jaw set, mascara steady, like a statue that refused to crack. "She did this because I asked her to," Mama had said. Malcolm felt the words like ice against the back of his neck. "Explain," he managed. Mama's gaze moved from him to Vanessa and back, as if measuring what each could bear. "I asked Vanessa to meet me alone," she said. "I asked her to bring soup, to sit with me in the quiet, to listen. I was going to ask her to do something hard before the wedding, tell you the truth." "What truth?" Malcolm asked. Vanessa's laugh was a sharp, nervous sound. "This is ridiculous. She's trying to twist." Mama lifted one hand for silence. Even the machine seemed to hush. "The truth," she said, "that the story you were told about me is not complete." A soft knock. The doctor stepped fully inside now that the power had settled, folder in hand. He looked like a man who had seen enough life to read a room. "Mr. Adeyemi, Miss Brooks, madam," he said gently. "We can talk later if this is a bad time." "It's the right time," Mama said. "Stay." The doctor nodded, eyes kind. "All right. Your scans show no fracture, madam, but severe osteopenia. Your bones are very fragile. That is why the fall, even a short one, was dangerous." His gaze flicked to Vanessa's heels and back without judgment. "Also, your blood work flagged something rare, a null antigen pattern. We almost missed it because it's uncommon in our database." Malcolm's brows lifted. "Rare how?" "Without getting too technical," the doctor said, "it's an extremely unusual red cell profile. In our records, there is only one other patient registered at this facility in the last decade with the same pattern." He turned a page, then looked up. "You." The word landed between them like a stone dropped in still water. Vanessa's lips parted. "That proves nothing," she said quickly. "Hospitals get things wrong every day." The doctor didn't argue. "It proves nothing by itself," he agreed calmly. "But it is notable." Mama touched her scarf as if gathering strength from its folds. "I tried to speak to Vanessa," she said, voice low. "I told her I would not let this wedding happen with this lie alive between us. I asked her to help me tell you before the world did. She refused." Vanessa's eyes flashed. "Because you wanted to threaten me," she shot back. "You said you'd open your mouth in church if I didn't do exactly what you want." "What did she want?" Malcolm asked, his voice careful, like he was approaching a cliff at night. "Honesty," Mama said. "And a promise." "A promise?" he asked. "That you would take care of each other and of those who took care of you," she said, as if naming something sacred. "That no one you call mother would ever be humiliated in your house. That when the hard days come, and they will, you will stand on truth, not vanity." She looked at Vanessa. "I asked you to sign a small paper, nothing legal, only a vow to honor your vows. You laughed and said vows are for cameras." Something in Vanessa's face twitched, small and fast. "I never said that." Malcolm's mind bucked against the scene he had just watched on his phone, the tilt of the runner, the cool nudge of a heel. "Why did you say she did this because I asked her to?" he asked. "Say it plain." Mama looked him in the eye. "I asked her to meet me. I asked her to bring soup. I asked her to be patient." She breathed in slow. "I did not ask her to lift the rug." Silence again. In that silence, memories came, uninvited, fast. A boy half-grown, fresh from Houston with a head full of accents, dropped with a plastic suitcase in a place that smelled like smoke and palm oil. A woman with a strong back and a soft laugh, folding him into the living room noise of St. Felicity home. The hiss of beans on a stove, the scrape of small chairs on broken tiles, the chorus of children arguing and making up in the space of a breath. The woman's hands, these same hands, tucking a thin blanket around him on a short couch, humming a song that mixed Igbo and something older than language. He had been told then that she was a foster mother, one of the women who took in kids the world forgot, who added rice to the pot and made it stretch. He had believed it because believing it meant he could leave without breaking in two. He could build a life in 2 countries and 2 names, send money back with the polite distance of a grateful son. Foster meant love without complications. Vanessa's voice broke the memory. "This is insane," she said. "She is trying to control you, Malcolm. She wants to reroute your wedding, your money, your life. Look at the timeline." She ticked points off on manicured fingers. 2 months before our wedding, she suddenly needs to tell a truth. She demands I sign a moral contract. She stages a scene. Then she throws in a hospital test like some kind of... "I didn't choose my bones," Mama said, a little wry, and for a moment Malcolm almost smiled because that sounded like the woman who once scolded him for trying to fix a rusty hinge with cologne oil. Then Mama turned serious again. "What I chose was to keep something from you for years. I chose wrong." The doctor shifted but didn't leave. People in the hallway moved, wheels squeaked, a child laughed 2 rooms down. Life carried on, unbothered by the storms in this single room. Malcolm sat on the edge of the bed. The muscles at the back of his neck ached. "All right," he said. "Say it." "I gave birth to you," Mama said quietly. "Not just fostered. Not just fed. I carried you. I named you in my heart and then I hid that name to keep you safe." Everything in him seemed to tilt a degree off-center. Vanessa's mouth opened and shut, catching only air. Mama watched his face. "Your father was a complicated man," she said. "Powerful in the ways that break a woman if she is not careful. When you were born, there were people who would have used you to hurt me and used me to control him. So I made a choice. Another woman, a friend at the home, signed the papers as the guardian. I became auntie. I thought one day I would tell you when a certain danger had passed. Then you grew and you became someone the world watched. The danger changed shape. I kept delaying." The doctor looked up from the folder. "Forgive me," he said, "but there is one more piece that might affirm what Madam has said." He turned a page and cleared his throat. "Our archivist flagged a 1995 delivery record from our maternity unit, one that was misfiled under a misspelling of Ijeoma. The mother's name on the line is not exactly yours, Madam, but close enough that one could see how a clerk with fast hands and a slower ear wrote it wrong. The baby's date of birth matches Mr. Adeyemi's, and the infant's blood annotation carries that same rare antigen pattern." He closed the file. "I can't claim this is a legal proof, but medically it aligns." Malcolm's hands were steady on the blanket, but his voice wasn't. "Why now?" he asked. "Why tell me now like this?" Mama swallowed. The answer moved behind her eyes like something heavy being rolled into place. "Because the man who could ruin your happiness if he hears it from the wrong mouth has started asking questions again," she said. "Because someone sent me a message last week, no name, only a promise to expose the charity woman's lie, at your wedding." Her mouth trembled, she blew out a breath to stop it. "Because I am old, Malcolm, and the long road behind me is catching up. The doctor will tell you what the scans also saw." All eyes slid to the doctor. He didn't make them ask twice. "There is a small lesion on Madam's left lung," he said, tone careful. "It may be nothing. It may be early. We will run more tests. But it makes the timing understandable." Vanessa made a small sound, pity or calculation. It was hard to tell. "I'm sorry," she said, at last playing a card that always looked good in a camera close-up. "Genuinely. I am. But this is not how you tell a man he's been lied to for 30 years. You don't blow up his life and blame me because I didn't agree to your script." "You lifted the rug," Malcolm said softly. Vanessa stared at him. For a second, the polished veneer thinned and something raw peeked through. "I panicked," she said. "She said she would stop the wedding, Malcolm. She said she would stand up in the church and tell the world I was not worthy. She showed me that paper and told me to sign it or she would let the truth out like smoke. I thought, if your life explodes from this, it explodes and I will be the one everyone points at. I was trying to step over a mess I didn't make. By making a worse one," he said. She took one step forward. "You don't know what being a woman in your world is like. Everyone thinks I'm here for your money. Your board watches me like a hawk. Your fans scrutinize every dress I wear. Your mother," she caught herself, corrected, "this woman set a trap and you caught me inside it." Mama did not flinch. "I didn't ask you to hurt me to keep a wedding on schedule." "I didn't hurt you," Vanessa snapped, then saw Malcolm's face and bit the rest back. When she spoke again it was lower. "I nudged. I made a bad call. But I did not kick your mother. The word kick is for the internet. You know how they will turn it. Malcolm's phone buzzed on the tray. A text from his head of security slid into view. He didn't have to open it to feel the heat of trouble. But he did. CCTV anomaly detected. Hallway feed altered at 14:07. A second text came before he could answer. Also, someone attempted remote access to your home security cloud from an unknown device at 14:12. We blocked it. His eyes lifted slowly to Vanessa's face. Her own phone, still face down, vibrated twice with messages she didn't check. Who else knew about this meeting? He asked. No one, Vanessa said too fast. I told Adiz I was going to speak to her, Mama said. I didn't want to hide even a small thing from the one who sees the house. The door eased open and Adiz herself leaned in, apology ready on her tongue for interrupting, until she saw their faces and swallowed it. Olga, she said softly, someone is at the nurse's station asking for you. A man who says he is family. We are family, Malcolm said, something fierce in it. I told him, Adiz said, eyes bright with loyalty. He said to tell you his name that you will remember. She took a breath. He said his name is Desmond Cole. The room tilted again, another memory darker. A heavy hand on a boy's shoulder, a smile that didn't reach the eyes, a voice that spoke promises like threats. Vanessa's face drained of color. Mama closed her eyes for a heartbeat, as if bracing for a wave she had long feared. Send him in, Malcolm said, the words slow and heavy, a verdict and an invitation at once. Adiz nodded and vanished. The doctor took a discreet step back. Vanessa swallowed and finally flipped her phone, glancing at the screen. A push alert lit up in bold letters. Billionaire heir's mother hospitalized, fiancé involved? Exclusive video claims. She looked up, caught Malcolm's eyes and said in a whisper that couldn't hide the tremor, someone already has the footage. The door handle turned. And Desmond Cole walked in. Desmond Cole filled the doorway like a shadow that had finally found its source. He was in his early 50s, tall and sharp around the edges, dressed in a brown senator's suit that still smelled faintly of imported cologne. A thin scar sliced across his chin, the same scar Malcolm remembered from his childhood nightmares. The air in the hospital room thickened. Even the heart monitor slowed as if listening. Malcolm, Desmond said, his voice smooth as oil, my son? The word son landed like poison. Malcolm rose slowly from the chair beside Mama Ijeoma's bed, every muscle rigid. Don't call me that, he said. Mama turned her face away, whispering something too low to catch. Desmond smiled, but his eyes, cold and predatory, didn't match it. Still stubborn, he said. You got that from me. I told your mother once that no one could tame you. But I see she didn't tell you everything, did she? Vanessa stepped back instinctively, clutching her handbag like a shield. Mr. Cole, this isn't the place. Oh, it's exactly the place, Desmond interrupted, glancing at her. You must be the young lady who thinks she's joining the Adeyemi family. He chuckled softly. Or should I say the Cole family? Because technically that's what this is. Malcolm's jaw tightened. Say what you came to say and leave. Desmond stepped inside, ignoring the tension that swirled around him. He stopped at the foot of Mama's bed and looked down at her with a smirk that made her flinch. It's been years, Ijeoma. You've done well for yourself. Raised my boy into a billionaire. He turned to Malcolm. Tell me, son, does she still cook ogbono soup the way she used to? Thick as mud but sweeter than sin? Enough, Malcolm snapped. Desmond's smirk widened. Still protecting her. Good. You'll need that instinct where we're going. Where you're going is out of this room, Malcolm shot back. The older man laughed softly. You think your money can erase me? I built the foundation your empire stands on. The deals you're proud of, the contacts, the first shipment, the warehouse in Port Harcourt, all were mine before you stole them. I didn't steal anything, Malcolm said. I built everything I own from scratch. You disappeared. You left debts, chaos, and a son, Desmond finished, voice suddenly low, dangerous. A son you wouldn't have had the chance to become without me. He stepped closer. And now that the truth's out, you'll do what's right. You'll restore my name. You'll bring me back in. Malcolm took one slow breath, then said, You mean you want money? Desmond smiled. I want recognition. And a small piece of what's mine. Vanessa's eyes darted between them, calculating. She saw opportunity in every broken bond. Mama Ijeoma gripped the blanket. You don't deserve recognition, she said, her voice trembling but clear. You abandoned him before he could walk. You left me bleeding and starving. You threatened to take him to sell off for debt repayment. You don't deserve. Watch your mouth, Desmond snapped, his voice rising. You were a servant in my house when I met you, remember that? Don't talk like you were a queen. Malcolm stepped between them, fury cracking through his composure. Don't raise your voice at her. Desmond looked at him, really looked at him, and something dark flickered across his face. You've got my fire, he said softly. But you're making a mistake standing with her. That woman lied to you for 30 years. You think she's some saint because she wiped your nose? Ask her why she kept me away. Ask her what really happened the night she ran away with you. Malcolm turned toward Mama, confusion and anger mixing in his chest. What's he talking about? Mama looked pale, fragile against the white sheets. Her lips trembled. He's twisting things, she said quietly. Desmond was never safe. Desmond cut her off with a sharp laugh. Safe? You think I was the monster? Tell him, Ijeoma. Tell him who forged his birth papers. Who stole my money to save him. Tell him about the blood on your hands. The room fell silent. Even Vanessa stopped breathing. Malcolm stared at her. Mama? Her eyes glistened. I did what I had to do, she said finally. To protect you. From what? Desmond's grin widened. From me? Or from the truth? He pulled a small brown envelope from his pocket and tossed it onto the hospital tray. It slid across the metal with a hiss. Malcolm picked it up. Inside were old photographs, faded, creased, and water-stained. One showed a young Ijeoma, holding a baby wrapped in cloth. Another showed Desmond beside her, smiling for a camera that caught nothing but lies. Behind that was a document, a birth certificate. Malcolm froze. The name printed in bold black letters at the top read, Malcolm Cole. The father's name, Desmond Cole. The mother's, Ijeoma Cole. Vanessa gasped. Oh my God. Mama's hand went to her chest. Where did you get that? Desmond grinned. From the hospital archives. Turns out they keep everything if you know who to pay. He turned to Malcolm. You see, son? You've been living under a fake name. Adeyemi was your grandmother's maiden name, a lie she told to keep you from me. But the truth always finds its way home. Malcolm's mind swirled. Everything, his identity, his business, his name, suddenly felt fragile. Like it all stood on borrowed ground. You expect me to believe you after what you did to us? He said. You were violent. You left us. You used Mama like she was nothing. Desmond's smirk faded into something harder. I was desperate, he said. And she was clever. Too clever. She ran with my money and hid you. Changed your name, lied to the authorities, and told everyone I was dead. I went to prison because of her, Malcolm. I lost everything. Vanessa, eyes wide, turned to Malcolm. He's lying, right? She said. Tell me he's lying. But Malcolm didn't answer. He was staring at the birth certificate like it had rewritten his life. Desmond stepped closer. Here's what's going to happen, he said. You're going to make a public statement. You'll acknowledge me as your father. You'll pay me what you owe, half your net worth. And in return, I'll keep quiet about the forged papers, the fake charity records, the bribes used to secure your first deal in Abuja. You think I don't know? Malcolm's eyes narrowed. That's blackmail. Desmond shrugged. Call it family business. Mama struggled to sit up, clutching her ribs. Malcolm, don't listen to him. He's dangerous. He will destroy everything you've worked for. He's already destroyed enough. But before Malcolm could respond, Vanessa's phone buzzed again. This time she answered. Her face drained of color. What? She whispered into the phone. No, that's impossible. She lowered the phone, looking at Malcolm with panic in her eyes. Someone leaked the footage, Malcolm. The video of me and Mama. It's online. It's everywhere. Desmond smirked. Perfect timing. Malcolm's phone buzzed next. Notifications poured in. Hashtag Billionaire Fiancée abuse, hashtag Vanessa Brooks scandal, hashtag Malcolm Cole truth. The internet had exploded. The video, the confrontation, the fall, all of it was out. Desmond leaned closer, voice low. The world thinks your fiancé beats old women, and your mother's been lying about who she is. You need a new narrative, son. One I can help you build. Malcolm's voice was ice. Get out. Desmond's smile flickered. Or what? You'll call security? You'll have me arrested? Remember, I'm your father. Malcolm stepped forward until they were inches apart. A father protects, he said. You destroy. You don't belong in my life. Desmond's smirk broke, replaced by quiet rage. Then you'll regret this, he said, stepping backward. You'll regret turning your back on blood. He turned to Vanessa. And you, pretty thing. Be careful whose secrets you keep. Because when the world starts digging, yours won't stay buried. He walked out slowly, the scent of his cologne lingering like a warning. For a moment, no one moved. Vanessa collapsed into a chair, shaking. Malcolm, what do we do? The video's out. People think I'm a monster. Malcolm stared after Desmond, fists clenched. We start by finding out how that footage leaked, he said. Because that wasn't an accident. Mama's voice was faint but firm. He's behind it, she said. Desmond always plays the long game. Malcolm turned toward the window, the Lagos skyline glowing gold against the evening sky. Then I'll play longer, he said quietly. He looked at Vanessa, who sat trembling, tears streaking her perfect makeup. But first, he said, you're going to tell me everything you've been hiding. Vanessa froze. What do you mean? She whispered. Malcolm took a step closer, his eyes cold and calculating. Because I checked the security logs before coming here. The anonymous attempt to access my CCTV feed earlier today, the device used? It was registered to you. Vanessa's lips parted, but no words came. Mama might have fallen, Malcolm said softly, but this time, Vanessa, it looks like you set the rug. Her breath caught. The color drained from her face completely. The room fell silent again, just before the faint echo of Desmond's laughter drifted from the hallway, promising that this was far from over. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, backhand index pointing down. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who loves suspenseful African tales. Your support keeps these stories alive. Vanessa's breath came in short, panicked gasps. Her phone trembled in her hand as Malcolm's words echoed through the sterile hospital room. The device was registered to you. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. When she finally spoke, her voice was a whisper. I didn't do it. I swear, Malcolm, I didn't leak the footage. I was scared, yes, but I didn't. Then explain, Malcolm cut in, calm but deadly. Explain how my home security system recognized your phone's digital ID. Mama Ijeoma watched quietly, her wrinkled hands clutching the blanket like prayer beads. Her eyes, aged, wise and weary, shifted between them. Vanessa rose from the chair, trembling. I don't know. Maybe Desmond cloned my phone. Maybe he. Malcolm's glare silenced her. You think he could have done that without your help? Her face crumpled. I was desperate. He said he had something that could ruin us, ruin you. Malcolm took a slow step toward her. You spoke to him before today? Vanessa looked away, her voice cracking. Yes, but only once. He called me a few days ago. Said he was an investor from Abuja. I didn't know who he was until today. And what did you give him? Malcolm asked coldly. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Nothing. He just wanted access to the house camera. He said he wanted to deliver a surprise to you, something big before the wedding. He paid me. How much? 2 million naira, she whispered. Malcolm exhaled sharply, rage boiling beneath his calm exterior. You sold me out for 2 million? I didn't know it was him, she cried. He said it was for an early wedding gift video project. I didn't think. That's the problem, Vanessa, Malcolm said, voice trembling with fury. You never think. You just want everything to look perfect on the outside while it rots underneath. She sobbed, dropping to her knees. Malcolm, please, you have to believe me. I love you. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Mama Ijeoma's frail voice broke the tension. Love without truth, she said softly, is like a house built on sand. It falls the moment rain comes. Vanessa turned toward her. Please, Mama, I'm begging you. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was angry and scared. Mama's eyes softened just slightly. Anger can be forgiven. But betrayal must be faced. The door opened again and Adiz slipped in quietly. Oga, the reporters are outside, she said, her tone nervous. They're everywhere. They say the whole internet is talking about the video. Malcolm closed his eyes for a moment, exhaling slowly. Of course they are, he murmured. Desmond made sure of it. He turned to Adiz. Get Mama ready to leave. I'll handle this. Vanessa scrambled to her feet. Malcolm, please. Don't go out there. The press, they'll twist your words. Malcolm looked at her, his eyes cold. They already have. He stepped toward the door. But they won't define my truth. He pushed past her and walked down the corridor, each step echoing like a gavel strike. The hospital lobby buzzed with chaos. Reporters shoving microphones, cameras flashing. Mr. Adeyemi? Is it true your fiancé assaulted your mother? Sir, who leaked the footage? Is the woman in the video your biological mother or foster guardian? Malcolm raised a hand, silencing the noise. His face was calm, composed, the kind of expression that made CEOs and presidents listen. "My mother," he said clearly, "is the woman who raised me, who fed me when I had nothing, and who taught me honor. The rest will be handled privately." "Are you still marrying Vanessa Brooks?" someone shouted. Malcolm paused just long enough for every camera to focus. "Ask me that again after I find out who leaked the video." The reporters erupted as he turned and walked away. Back in the room, Vanessa sat frozen on the edge of the bed. Mama Ijeoma watched her with the quiet sadness of someone who had seen too much life. "You remind me of myself when I was young," Mama said softly. Vanessa looked up, startled. "Me?" "Yes," Mama said. "Beautiful. Proud. Hungry for a life that looked better than it felt. I made mistakes too." Vanessa's tears slowed. "Then why hate me?" Mama shook her head. "I don't hate you, my daughter. But I will not lie for you." She took Vanessa's hand gently. "If you truly love Malcolm, you must stand for truth, even if it breaks your heart." Vanessa swallowed hard. "He'll never forgive me." "Forgiveness," Mama whispered, "comes after confession. Speak before he finds more reasons to doubt you." Before Vanessa could respond, her phone buzzed again. She looked down and froze. The message came from an unknown number. "Leave the hospital now if you value your life. You're next." Her heart stopped. "Oh my God. What is it?" Mama asked, concern knitting her brow. Vanessa showed her the screen. "He's threatening me. Desmond." Mama's eyes hardened. "Then you must not run. Running is what he expects." The door opened again. Malcolm returned, his face set like stone. "They're everywhere outside," he said. "We'll move Mama tonight under security escort." Then he noticed Vanessa's trembling hands and the pale screen of her phone. "What's that?" She handed it to him wordlessly. He read the message once, his expression darkening. "He's not done yet," he said. "Desmond?" "Yes. He's trying to corner us all, one by one." Mama sighed deeply, her voice frail but steady. "He won't stop until he destroys everything I've built, everything you've become." Malcolm's jaw tightened. "Then he picked the wrong family this time." He turned to Vanessa. "You said you only met him once. I want you to think carefully. Did he say where he was staying, who he was meeting, anything?" Vanessa shook her head, then hesitated. "He mentioned someone. A man named Tund, said he worked in media. He promised the video would go viral within hours." Malcolm's eyes sharpened. "Then that's our leak. Tund works for Citywatch Media, one of the most aggressive tabloids in Lagos." He paced the room thinking fast. "If Desmond's goal is to destroy my name, he'll go after my business next. My board will panic. My investors will pull back. I need to get ahead of him before sunrise." Vanessa watched him, tears streaking her cheeks. "Malcolm, I'll do anything to fix this." He turned to her slowly. "Then tell the truth, publicly." Her eyes widened. "You mean, go live? On camera?" "Yes. Admit what you did. Tell them you were deceived. And clear Mama's name." "But that will ruin me," she cried. Malcolm's gaze hardened. "You already ruined yourself, Vanessa. Now prove there's something left worth saving." For a moment, the only sound was the steady beeping of Mama's monitor. Vanessa nodded slowly, defeat etched across her face. "I'll do it," she whispered. "I'll confess." Mama Ijeoma gave a weary smile. "Maybe then," she said softly, "the rain will stop falling on sand." But before anyone could speak again, Adiz burst through the door, breathless. "Oga, there's a problem." Malcolm spun around. "What is it?" "Someone just broke into the hospital security room downstairs," Adiz panted. "The guards say a man in a brown senator suit was seen leaving through the back exit. He had access to the CCTV control system." Malcolm's eyes went cold. "Desmond." Vanessa gasped. "He's wiping the footage." Mama's voice trembled. "He's not wiping, my son, he's replacing." Malcolm froze. "Replacing with what?" The answer came seconds later. Vanessa's phone buzzed again. A new notification appeared from Citywatch Media. A breaking headline filled the screen. "Leaked, billionaire Malcolm Adeyemi caught manipulating video to frame Fiancée. Inside footage reveals shocking cover-up." Malcolm's heart dropped. Mama's hand tightened around his. "He's turning your truth into a lie." Malcolm's expression hardened like granite. "Then I'll uncover his lies before he buries us all." He turned toward the window, the Lagos night glowing with the hum of chaos below. "If Desmond wants war," he said, his voice cold and sure, "then war is what he'll get." Outside, thunder rumbled faintly, the first warning of a coming storm. And inside that hospital room, 3 lives hung between truth and ruin. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, backhand index pointing down. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share if you're enjoying this story. Your engagement helps us bring more gripping African tales to life every week. The storm broke before dawn. Rain lashed the windows of the private ward, and thunder rolled across the Lagos lagoon like the roar of an angry god. Malcolm stood by the window, jaw tight, staring into the dark. His reflection in the glass looked like a man haunted, torn between the truth he'd lived and the one he'd just discovered. Behind him, the small hospital room glowed with pale light. Mama Ijeoma slept fitfully, her breath shallow but steady. Vanessa sat in a chair by the wall, her eyes red from crying. She hadn't touched her phone since the headline dropped. "Malcolm," she whispered. "Please say something." He didn't turn. "What's there left to say? You don't believe I'd work with him to hurt you, do you?" He finally faced her, his voice quiet but heavy. "Vanessa, I believe you were selfish. I believe you made mistakes. But what I don't know is whether those mistakes were out of fear or greed." She flinched, her lower lip trembling. "I was scared," she said. "Scared to lose you. Scared he'd expose something I didn't even understand." Malcolm studied her face, the tears, the shaking hands, the guilt. "Then this is your chance to prove it," he said. "We're going public in 2 hours." Her eyes widened. "What?" "I've arranged a press conference. You'll speak first. You'll tell the truth, all of it. About the rug, the soup, the footage, the payment." "But Malcolm, my career was built on a lie," he said sharply. "You called yourself a woman of integrity on every magazine cover in Nigeria. Now live up to that image. Stand beside me and fix this mess you helped create." Vanessa's voice cracked. "And if I do?" Malcolm's eyes didn't soften. "Then maybe there's still a future for you. Maybe." Mama stirred on the bed, coughing lightly. "You're both fighting the wrong battle," she murmured weakly. Malcolm rushed to her side. "Mama, rest. You need." She raised a frail hand, silencing him. "No, my son. You think Desmond's goal is scandal. It's not. Scandal is only the smoke. His fire is deeper." Malcolm frowned. "What do you mean?" Mama's gaze turned distant, as if she was seeing the past instead of the present. "Years ago, when you were just a boy, Desmond lost everything to a crooked deal. He blamed me. Said I cursed him by running away with you. I thought he'd moved on. But no, he's been waiting for the right time. He wants what you have now. The company. The power. And if he can't have it," Malcolm said grimly, "he'll destroy it." Mama nodded weakly. "He's a man who would burn his own house just to make sure you choke on the smoke." Malcolm stood slowly, his mind racing. "Then I won't let him light the match." He grabbed his coat and phone. "Where are you going?" Vanessa asked. "To end this," he said. "Before he spreads another lie." "You can't go alone," she cried. "He's dangerous." Malcolm stopped at the door, his voice low. "I'm not afraid of danger. I was raised in it." He stepped out before she could say another word. Lagos, City Watch Media Headquarters. The building loomed tall and metallic, lit by the buzz of flashing signs and the hum of generators. Inside, the newsroom was alive with activity, reporters shouting, cameras flashing, editors huddled over screens. And at the center of it all sat Desmond Cole, sipping espresso like a man who had already won. "Ah," he murmured, watching the viral feed of the hospital clip replay on a wall screen. "Beautiful chaos. Nothing sells like a family's fall." Tund, the tabloid editor, leaned against the desk nervously. "Sir, I still think we should have blurred the mother's face. The backlash could." Desmond waved him off. "Let them talk. Every view, every comment, every angry tweet, it all feeds the story. And the story feeds me." He glanced at the next draft headline glowing on Tund's laptop screen. "Billionaire's empire built on lies, secret father speaks out." Desmond grinned. "Perfect. Make sure that runs at sunrise." Just then the elevator doors opened with a soft chime. Malcolm stepped out, rainwater dripping from his coat, his expression calm, too calm. The entire newsroom froze. Desmond looked up, amused. "Well, look who came to visit." Malcolm walked slowly across the room, every step echoing against the tile. "You wanted attention, didn't you?" he said quietly. "You got it." Desmond leaned back, unbothered. "I told you the truth would come out." "You mean your version of it?" Desmond smiled. "The world believes what I show them. That's the only version that matters." Malcolm stopped in front of his desk, his voice low and dangerous. "Not for long." Desmond chuckled. You think you can fight me with ethics and big speeches? Boy, I taught you everything you know about survival. Malcolm's eyes flickered toward Tund. How much did he pay you to destroy me? Tund swallowed. I can't say. Desmond interrupted smoothly. He doesn't have to. You can't buy loyalty, Malcolm. You only rent it. And your lease just expired. Malcolm leaned forward, his voice dropping to a whisper that cut like glass. You talk too much for a man about to lose everything. Desmond's smirk faltered. What? Malcolm straightened and nodded toward the security monitors on the wall. You should have checked your feeds, Desmond. You forgot one thing about manipulating video. Digital fingerprints. Every frame you edited, every timestamp you forged, every server you touched, my cybersecurity team traced it. Desmond's smile vanished. Even as we speak, Malcolm continued, the police are on their way here. And every file you uploaded to City Watch's servers? Copied. Archived. Marked as evidence of cyber defamation and extortion. Tund went pale. You called the police? Desmond rose slowly, fury flashing in his eyes. You think this ends with me in handcuffs? No, Malcolm said calmly. It ends with you finally facing the truth. Desmond slammed a fist against the desk. I made you. You're nothing without my name. Malcolm's voice stayed level. Then why did you hide it all these years? For the first time, Desmond hesitated. The arrogance cracked. Beneath it was something bitter and broken. Because your success was supposed to be mine, he said through clenched teeth. Everything you have, every building, every deal, it's what I should have had. You were born lucky. I was born cursed. Malcolm stepped closer, his tone quiet but fierce. I wasn't born lucky. I was raised loved. There's a difference. Desmond's eyes burned. You think love will save you from me? Malcolm's gaze didn't waver. No. But it'll destroy you. The sound of police sirens wailed faintly outside. Desmond turned toward the window, realization dawning too late. You recorded this, didn't you? He snarled. Malcolm's faint smile was all the answer he needed. Two uniformed officers entered moments later, hands firm on their cuffs. Mr. Desmond Cole, one said, you're under arrest for cyber manipulation, blackmail, and extortion. You have the right to remain silent. Desmond's rage exploded. You'll regret this, Malcolm, he shouted as the officers restrained him. This isn't over. You'll burn with me. Malcolm's expression didn't change. You already burned yourself, he said quietly. I'm just putting out the fire. As the officers dragged Desmond away, the newsroom erupted with noise, reporters filming, cameras flashing, whispers flying like sparks. Malcolm turned to Tund. Delete every fabricated post before you lose your license. Tund nodded rapidly. Why, yes, sir. Malcolm walked out of the building without another word. By the time he returned to the hospital, dawn had painted the sky orange and gold. Mama Ijeoma was awake, her face peaceful. Vanessa stood by the window, watching the rain fade into morning light. When Malcolm entered, Mama smiled faintly. You did it, didn't you? He nodded. It's over. He's been arrested. Tears welled in her eyes. Then the curse is broken. Malcolm sat beside her, holding her hand gently. No curse, Mama. Just consequences finally catching up. Vanessa turned to him, her eyes still red. Malcolm, about the press conference. He looked at her, calm but unreadable. You'll still go through with it. Not for me, for the truth. She nodded slowly. I will. Mama smiled weakly. Then maybe we can finally breathe again. Malcolm looked out the window at the clearing sky. Not yet, he said softly. Desmond's gone, but the world still believes the lies. We'll clear your name, Mama. We'll clear ours. And as the sunlight broke through the clouds, it painted the room in gold, the kind of light that promised both an ending and a beginning. But neither of them knew yet that Desmond's reach stretched further than prison walls, and that the biggest betrayal was still waiting in the shadows. And do you think Desmond's story is truly over, or is there another twist coming? Share your thoughts below, backhand index pointing down. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story if you're loving it. Every comment helps this channel grow and keeps African storytelling alive. The Lagos sunrise that morning felt different. Quieter, heavy with the kind of calm that only comes before another storm. Malcolm hadn't slept. He stood on the balcony of the penthouse suite overlooking the lagoon, a glass of untouched water in his hand. Below him, the city hummed to life, cars honking, hawkers calling, the chaos of a Monday morning reborn after a night of scandal. Inside, the television blared with breaking news headlines. Desmond Cole arrested in cybercrime raid. Vanessa Brooks to speak at press conference this afternoon. Billionaire Malcolm Adeyemi, or Cole, faces paternity revelation. He muted the screen and closed his eyes. Even victory felt hollow. The truth had cost him everything: his privacy, his peace, and maybe the woman he thought he loved. Malcolm? Vanessa's voice was soft behind him. She wore a modest cream gown, nothing like her usual designer armor. Her eyes were swollen from crying, but her face carried a quiet resolve. "I'm ready," she said. He turned, studying her carefully. "Ready for what?" "The press conference. You said I should tell the truth." He nodded slowly. "You'll say everything. No filters. No excuses. Once you do, I'll handle the rest." Vanessa hesitated. "And if I do, what happens to us?" Malcolm's expression didn't change. "Let's survive today first." She looked down. "Fair enough." Mama Ijeoma was resting in the next room. She had insisted on coming to the penthouse that morning, saying she wanted to see the day the lies broke apart. Though weak, she sat up with a proud dignity only elders could carry. As Malcolm approached, she smiled faintly. "You look tired, my son." "I'll rest when the truth is loud enough to silence the noise," he said. She nodded, her voice soft. "You're fighting clean in a world that plays dirty. That's both your strength and your curse." He squeezed her hand gently. "You taught me that truth doesn't need to shout, it just needs to stand." She chuckled weakly. "Ah, you sound like your mother." He smiled for the first time that morning. "I wonder where I got that from." Before they could say more, Adiz entered, holding a tablet. "Olga, you need to see this." Malcolm took it, and froze. On the screen was a new video, uploaded less than 30 minutes ago. The title read, "Exclusive, Desmond Cole speaks from prison, they're framing me." Vanessa's face went pale. "That's impossible. He was arrested last night." Malcolm pressed play. The video flickered to life, grainy, recorded on a smuggled phone. Desmond sat in a dimly lit cell, smirking at the camera. "They think they've won," Desmond said, his voice calm, oily. "But what they don't know is that the truth about Malcolm Adeyemi, my son, hasn't even started to unfold. They want to paint me as a monster, but I'm not the only liar in this story. The real fraud sits in a hospital bed right now. And when you find out what she did, you'll realize I'm the only one who ever told the truth." The video ended. Malcolm's jaw clenched. "He's trying to drag Mama into this again." Vanessa whispered, "How is he even getting messages out of prison?" Adiz answered quietly. "Sir, his brother works at the prison administration office. I checked the records." Malcolm swore under his breath. "So the Cole family has inside help." Mama sighed deeply. "He won't stop until I tell everything. Maybe it's time." "No," Malcolm said immediately. "You've said enough." Mama shook her head. "No, my son. There's one more truth I've kept. A truth that could ruin or redeem us all." Vanessa looked between them nervously. "What truth?" Mama's eyes glistened. "The truth about your real inheritance." Malcolm frowned. "What are you talking about?" Mama motioned for Adiz to close the door, then turned to face Malcolm. "Do you remember the first company you ever built? The logistics firm?" "Yes," he said. "I started it with my savings when I was 23. She nodded slowly. "That money wasn't yours." Malcolm blinked. "What?" Mama's voice trembled but stayed steady. "I gave you the money from a bank account that wasn't mine to give. Desmond's." Vanessa gasped. "Wait, you stole from him?" Mama nodded slowly. "I took every naira from the offshore account he used to fund illegal trades. I told myself it was justice. But in truth it was revenge." Malcolm's heart pounded. "You mean, everything I built started with his money?" Mama looked at him, her eyes full of sorrow. "Yes. But you turned corruption into creation. You took dirty wealth and built something clean. I thought that would wash away the sin. But sins don't dissolve, my son. They wait." Malcolm stepped back, his world tilting again. "So that's why he's obsessed. He doesn't just want recognition. He wants what he believes I stole." Mama nodded weakly. "And he'll never stop until he gets it." Vanessa swallowed hard. "What do we do now?" Malcolm turned to her, his voice low. "We get ahead of it. At the press conference we won't just clear your name. We'll tell the whole truth, every piece. Before Desmond's people twist it first." Vanessa's eyes widened. "Malcolm, that could destroy your company." He looked out the window at the brightening sky. "Maybe. But if I stay silent, it'll destroy my soul." Mama smiled faintly, proud and heartbroken all at once. "You are my son indeed." Adiz rushed back in breathless. Oga. Reporters are setting up downstairs. The live stream starts in 30 minutes. Malcolm nodded. Then it's time. He turned to Mama. Rest. Watch from here. I'll make sure the world knows who you really are. She gripped his hand, her voice barely above a whisper. Be careful. Desmond is dangerous even in chains. He gave a small nod. So am I. Later that afternoon at the press conference, cameras flashed. Journalists packed the hall, murmuring like a restless sea. Vanessa stood at the podium, visibly shaking. Malcolm sat behind her with his mother's portrait placed beside the microphone, a silent guardian. When the room hushed, Vanessa took a deep breath. My name is Vanessa Brooks, she began. And today I'm here not as a celebrity or a fiancée, but as a woman who made terrible mistakes. A murmur rippled through the crowd. I lied, she continued. I allowed myself to be used by someone I didn't understand. I let fear and vanity blind me. I hurt a woman who didn't deserve it, and I betrayed a man who trusted me. But I want everyone to know, the video you saw was real, but it wasn't the whole truth. She glanced at Malcolm, who nodded slightly. The man behind this, Desmond Cole, manipulated me and tried to destroy the Adeyemi family. But he's not done. He's spreading new lies from prison. Lies that twist the truth about Malcolm's past. The crowd leaned in. Malcolm stood then, his voice calm and deep. The truth is simple, he said. My mother, Mama Ijeoma, raised me with nothing but courage and sacrifice. Yes, my biological father is Desmond Cole. But the only parent I've ever had is her. And yes, the first seed of my company came from money she took to protect us. That money has since been repaid 10 times over, through charity, through work, through legacy. He paused. If my success began with a sin, then my life's mission has been redemption. And that's what this moment is about. The room was silent. No flashing cameras. No murmurs. Just the quiet power of truth. Then a slow ripple of applause began, hesitant at first, then growing stronger. Vanessa looked out at the crowd, tears in her eyes. For the first time in months she didn't feel like a fraud. But just as Malcolm was about to step away from the podium, Adiz rushed in from the side of the stage, her face pale. She whispered something urgently into his ear. His eyes widened. What? Adiz nodded, terrified. Yes, sir. The police just called. Desmond, he's escaped custody. The hall erupted. Reporters shouted questions, cameras exploded in flashes. Malcolm's heart pounded. He looked at Vanessa, her face frozen in fear. Mama Ijeoma's warning echoed in his mind. He's dangerous even in chains. He leaned toward Adiz, his voice low but sharp. How long ago? Less than an hour, she said. They found 2 guards unconscious. He's gone. Malcolm's fists clenched. Then this isn't over. The cameras caught his expression as he turned toward the flashing lights. A man ready for war. The truth had freed him. But now, Desmond's revenge had just begun. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to keep supporting these gripping African folktales that mix truth, betrayal, and redemption. The press conference ended in chaos. Cameras flashed, microphones shoved forward, reporters screamed questions. But Malcolm didn't hear a word. His mind was already racing ahead, tracking Desmond's next move. He could feel it in his bones. The game wasn't over. It was only changing terrain. As his convoy sped back toward the penthouse, the streets of Victoria Island felt tighter, the sky darker, even though it was barely noon. The city that had once celebrated him now whispered his name like a scandal. Inside the car, Vanessa sat silent beside him, hands trembling in her lap. Adiz was in the passenger seat, updating security over the phone. Sir, Adiz said after hanging up, we've locked down the penthouse and Mama's room. 2 guards stationed at every exit. Malcolm nodded. Good. Keep the car running when we arrive. Vanessa turned to him slowly. What are you planning to do, Malcolm? His voice was calm but cold. Whatever it takes to end this. She swallowed hard. Desmond is dangerous. You saw what he's capable of. If he's escaped, he won't come after you directly. He'll come for someone you love. Malcolm's grip on the steering wheel tightened. That's why we're going home. Back at the penthouse. Mama Ijeoma sat in the living room, her wrapper neatly tied, the afternoon sunlight pooling across her lap. Despite the tension, her face was calm, a kind of peace only people who had survived storms could wear. When Malcolm entered, she looked up and smiled faintly. You told them the truth, she said. I heard the applause on television. He knelt beside her, taking her hands. It's not over, Mama. Desmond's escaped. Her smile faded. Then you must listen carefully, my son. I know where he'll go. Vanessa and Adeyemi exchanged glances. Malcolm frowned. Where? Mama took a shaky breath. There's a warehouse on the outskirts of Aja. Years ago, Desmond used it to store goods for his import business. He kept everything there, ledgers, documents, even other things. Things he never wanted the world to see. Malcolm's eyes narrowed. You think he's going back there? She nodded. That's where it began. That's where it will end. He stood, already reaching for his phone. Adeyemi, get the car ready again. Call Inspector Ease and give him the location. Mama grabbed his wrist before he could leave. Be careful, my son. He won't fight fair. I never expected him to, Malcolm said. 30 minutes later, Desmond's warehouse, Aja outskirts. The sky had turned gray, heavy with unspent rain. The warehouse stood at the end of a dirt road, surrounded by tall grass and rusting containers. A half-broken sign read, Cole and Sons Imports. Police cruisers lined the side road, lights flashing faintly. Inspector Ease, a broad-shouldered man with a sharp gaze, approached Malcolm as he stepped out of the SUV. Sir, we've surrounded the perimeter. No movement yet. Malcolm nodded. He's inside. He's too proud to run far. Ease studied him. You sure you want to be here, Mr. Adeyemi? This man isn't just angry, he's cornered. I'm not leaving until it's over, Malcolm said. They advanced cautiously, 2 officers flanking him as they entered the massive warehouse. The air was thick with dust and old memories. Crates towered high and sunlight streamed through cracks in the ceiling. A faint sound echoed, a metal clank, followed by slow footsteps. Malcolm. The voice came from the shadows near the center of the hall. Desmond stepped forward, his brown senator suit torn, his face bruised but smiling. His wrists still bore faint cuff marks. You never disappoint, he said. I knew you'd come. End this, Desmond, Malcolm said evenly. You've already done enough damage. Desmond laughed softly. End it? Oh no, son. This is the part where we start again. He gestured around the warehouse. Do you know what's in these crates? Proof. Documents. The kind of secrets that make empires crumble. You think I lost everything? No. I kept everything. The files your dear mother tried to destroy when she ran off with you, they're all here. The smuggling records, the accounts she emptied, all the evidence tying you to my crimes. Malcolm's stomach tightened. I was a child. You can't use me to justify what you did. Oh, but the world doesn't care about truth, Desmond said, his grin widening. Only perception. I leaked these documents and you're finished. Your company, your charities, your reputation, they'll all rot in the same mud I crawled through. You won't get the chance, Malcolm said, nodding to Ease. But before the inspector could give an order, a sudden boom echoed through the warehouse. Sparks flew from the ceiling. One of the crates burst open, revealing smoke and flickering wires. Bomb? An officer shouted. Chaos erupted. The policeman dove for cover as smoke filled the air. Desmond slipped through the haze, laughing. You think I came unprepared? He yelled. If I burn, you burn with me. Malcolm coughed through the smoke, eyes stinging. Ease. Get your men out. Not without you, the inspector shouted. I'll find him. Malcolm yelled back. He sprinted through the maze of crates, searching the shadows. The heat intensified, small flames licking the wooden walls. Then he saw him, Desmond, limping toward a side door, clutching a black duffel bag. Desmond. The older man stopped, turned, and for a moment they just stared at each other through the smoke and orange light. You can't win, Malcolm said. Desmond smirked. Winning was never the goal. I just want you to feel what I felt, everything collapsing around you. He reached for a small detonator in his hand. Malcolm lunged. The 2 men crashed to the floor, struggling. The device skittered away, landing near a burning crate. Desmond's fist caught Malcolm's jaw, but Malcolm countered, slamming him back. Look at you, Desmond hissed. The perfect son. The clean businessman. You're still my reflection. Malcolm pinned his arm. No, he said through gritted teeth. I'm what you could have been if you'd chosen decency. Desmond snarled, twisting free, and reached for the detonator. A gunshot cracked through the smoke. Desmond froze. His eyes widened, then slowly dropped to the red stain blooming across his chest. Inspector Ease stood at the far end, gun raised, breath steady. Drop it, he said quietly. Desmond stumbled, clutching his wound. His eyes met Malcolm's one last time. You can't escape me, he rasped. I live in your name. Then he fell. The detonator rolled harmlessly away. Malcolm crouched beside him, staring at the man who had haunted his entire life. For a long moment he said nothing. Then quietly, "No, father. You died the day you chose hate over love." Isa's men rushed in, extinguishing the fire, dragging Desmond's body away. As Malcolm walked out of the warehouse, smoke rising behind him, rain began to fall again, soft, cleansing. Vanessa was waiting by the car, eyes red, hands trembling. "Malcolm?" "It's over," he said. She nodded, relief breaking into quiet sobs. But as he looked up at the sky, Malcolm didn't feel victory. Only a deep, hollow peace. Some battles, he realized, don't end with triumph. They end with release. The rain had stopped by the time Malcolm returned home that night. The city was quiet now, eerily so, as if Lagos itself was holding its breath after the storm. He stepped into the penthouse, shoes still wet, shirt singed at the sleeve from the warehouse fire. Adiz met him at the door, relief flooding her face. "Oga, you're safe," she whispered. "Thank God." Malcolm nodded tiredly. "Where's Mama?" "She's resting," Adiz said softly. "She hasn't eaten much, but she's awake." Vanessa stood a few steps behind her, pale and silent, clutching a shawl around her shoulders. When their eyes met, she looked down. "I saw it on the news," she said quietly. "Desmond, he's gone?" Malcolm nodded once. "Yes." For a long moment no one spoke. The only sound was the steady hum of rainwater dripping from the eaves outside. Then he said, "I need to see Mama." Inside the bedroom, Mama Ijeoma sat propped up against pillows, the soft lamp casting a warm glow on her tired face. When she saw him, her eyes welled with tears. "My son," she whispered. "You came back." Malcolm knelt beside the bed and took her hand gently. "It's over, Mama. He won't hurt us again." She nodded weakly. "I heard the radio. They said there was fire and gunshots." He gave a faint smile. "It's done now. Rest easy." Her hand trembled in his. "I wish it hadn't come to this," she said softly. "He wasn't always a monster, you know. Once he laughed, danced, dreamed, but greed swallowed the good man inside him." Malcolm swallowed hard. "You still mourn him?" "I mourn the man he could have been," she said. "And I thank God for the man you became instead." She looked at him for a long moment, her eyes full of pride and sorrow all at once. "Promise me something, Malcolm. Anything. Don't let his blood become your burden. Don't carry his hatred in your heart." He nodded. "I promise." Mama smiled weakly, her eyes softening as sleep began to pull her under. "Good. Then maybe my spirit can rest too." Her hand slipped from his. For a terrifying second, Malcolm thought she'd gone. But then he heard it, the faintest whisper of breath. She was asleep. Peaceful. He stood slowly, staring down at her. "Rest, Mama," he said quietly. "You've done enough." Hours later, the penthouse was quiet. The storm had passed, the air clear and still. Malcolm stood alone on the balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly below him. He'd faced every secret, every shadow, every ghost, and somehow he was still standing. Vanessa stepped out beside him, barefoot, her eyes puffy but calmer than they'd been in days. "You haven't slept," she said softly. "I can't," he said. "When I close my eyes I see him. And I keep asking myself one question." She hesitated. "What question?" "If a man's whole life starts with lies," he said slowly, "can it ever end in truth?" Vanessa's gaze dropped to her hands. "Maybe it can," she said. "If he chooses to live differently after the truth is out." Malcolm looked at her, studying her face in the city glow. "And what about you, Vanessa? What will you choose?" She exhaled shakily. "To be better. To stop performing for cameras and start being real." She met his eyes. "But I know that might mean losing you." He didn't speak right away. The silence stretched between them, full of all the things they'd been through: love, betrayal, pain, redemption. Finally he said, "You didn't lose me because you lied, Vanessa. You lost me the moment you chose image over integrity." She nodded, a tear sliding down her cheek. "I understand." He sighed. "You'll always have a place in my prayers. But I think we both need to heal separately." Her lips trembled, but she didn't argue. Then, "Goodbye, Malcolm." "Goodbye, Vanessa." She turned and walked back inside, each step echoing softly until the sound disappeared. Malcolm remained on the balcony, the breeze cool against his skin. He looked up at the stars breaking through the clouds and whispered, "Thank you, Mama, for everything." 3 months later. The story had changed. Headlines now read, "Malcolm Adeyemi rebuilds trust with truth." Vanessa Brooks launches charity for abused women. Lagos billionaire honors mother's legacy. At the grand opening of the Ijeoma Foundation for Women and Children, Malcolm stood before a crowd of journalists and smiling faces. A giant portrait of Mama hung behind him, her gentle eyes watching over them all. He took the microphone, his voice steady and warm. "My mother taught me that truth doesn't destroy, it rebuilds. And today we rebuild with compassion." Applause filled the hall. Vanessa was there too, standing at the edge of the crowd, clapping quietly. Their eyes met briefly, no bitterness, just peace. As the event ended, Adiz approached Malcolm. "Sir," she said softly, "you did it. Everything is as Mama would have wanted." Malcolm smiled faintly. "Not everything. But it's a start." He looked up at the sky, sunlight pouring through the clouds. For the first time in years he felt light. Peace wasn't the absence of storms, it was learning to stand in the rain and still breathe. Later that night, as he sat by the window of his study, Malcolm opened Mama's old prayer book. A folded paper slipped out from between the pages. He unfolded it. It was a note, written in Mama's handwriting. "My son, if you ever doubt who you are, remember this. You are not the mistakes of those who came before you. You are the mercy that redeems them. Keep walking in light." "Mama." Malcolm smiled through tears. "Rest well, Mama. You kept your promise. Now it's my turn." He closed the book, set it gently on the table, and gazed out at the quiet city below, Lagos reborn like him. And somewhere in the night, thunder rolled again, but this time it sounded like applause. If you were Malcolm, would you have forgiven Vanessa and started over, or walked away like he did? And what lesson do you take from Mama Ijeoma's story about truth and redemption? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, backhand index pointing down. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to keep these emotional African folktales alive.